as an example, the U.S. has already graded up the amount of battery production that we're standing up in the United States. It was like 0.05 terawatt hours of battery capacity with the first Tesla Gigafactory just down the street from our Tahoe Radio Industrial Facility. That is going up to 1.2 terawatt hours of battery production just by the end of the decade.
All right, welcome back inside our proactive newsroom. Joining me now is Steve Cotton. He is the CEO of Aqua Metals. And Steve, it's good to see you. How are you?
Great, great. Good morning.
Yeah, excited to have you along. A little bit more about what's going on. I know you've had some recent news about a facility that you're building. We'll talk about that in just a second, but maybe give me a bit of background on Aqua Metals.
Yeah, so Aqua Metals is innovating a clean way to recycle lithium-ion batteries. And that is doing so in a way that doesn't produce a bunch of carbon dioxide that weighs more than the batteries themselves by multiples. We've figured out how to decarbonize that with a fully electrified process that we can utilize renewable energy for. And so because of our electrified process and our ability to reduce that carbon and also solid waste streams, things like sodium sulfate, which weigh also a lot more than the batteries on the back end, we're also able to do it more economically. So our conversion cost is less expensive than other methodologies. So decarbonize, safe work environment, and the best economics.
And Steve, who would you be doing this for? Who are sort of the people that you would look after in this type of facility?
Yeah, so in generalities, it's a lot of lithium batteries are already being collected and crushed and produced, de-energized, and this material called black mass is produced, and that has the lithium, nickel, and cobalt in it. So there's the open market where you can source the black mass, and then on the back end of our process, our products can go back into the battery supply chain in the form of cobalt in metal form, uniquely to us. Nickel also uniquely to us in metal form, and then lithium in the form of lithium carbonate is our first product. And so that's step one. Beyond that, though, all the major OEMs, original equipment manufacturers, between battery manufacturers as well as vehicles, are quite interested in closing the loop, which means being able to manage all these materials at their end of life or at the production scrap level. So all those materials get back into the ecosystem and hopefully in a clean way that also has a path to net zero, but also has better economics. And so we see opportunity both in the general market, but obviously closing the loop with those big OEMs that want to do the right thing towards net zero with the right economics.
Yeah. I know, Steve, that you recently put out an update on the significant progress that is made in your production facility. Tell us about where it is and sort of where you're at as far as construction.
Yeah, so we've already built and been operating our pilot operations in
Yeah.
Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, about 30 minutes east of where I'm sitting here in South Reno, in our headquarters. And that pilot operation is running in what we call our innovation center. And that has been operating as often as 24 hours a day, 5 days a week, again, for upwards of a year, proving the technology and validating our processes and producing materials that we've been really less focused on revenue and more focused on getting in the hands of those big OEMs so they can get samples and qualify those materials as we construct our commercial quantity phase one facility, which is about a 2-minute drive away from our innovation center in Tahoe Reno Industrial Center. And that is called the Sierra ARC, stands for AquaRefining and Recycling Center. So we've purchased the land and an existing building, and we've upfit the building nearly complete and have started to put equipment in that building with the eye on getting that building built out and commissioned as we get into next year and producing truckload quantities, commercial quantities of these materials.
Yeah. And so that's the focus now is to get this up and running and then move forward from there. Are you also looking at you mentioned these deals that you're talking about with some of these car manufacturers and people like that? That's something that is to come, you're hoping?
Yeah, so we're very actively involved. We provided samples of lithium and nickel and cobalt directly and through another partner of ours that makes cathode active materials called 6K Energy. They're privately held today, but they make cathode active materials that also go back into the automotive and battery manufacturing world. So those samples have been produced, and we've been seeding the market. So when we make these truckload quantities with our commercial production, we would expect that we would have more of these types of partnerships and alliances in an announceable form.
And lastly, Steve, you mentioned a bit about the opportunity that you have out there. I mean, it's only growing as we see, you know, where cars were at the beginning and where they're going to go to next, and the ones that are being sort of taken to their so-called end of life. It really seems to me that there's a really great opportunity for what you're doing, especially in the U.S.
Oh, for sure. As an example, the U.S. has already graded up the amount of battery production that we're standing up in the United States. It was like 0.05 terawatt hours of battery capacity with the first Tesla Gigafactory just down the street from our
Yeah.
Tahoe Radio Industrial Facility. That is going up to 1.2 terawatt hours of battery production just by the end of the decade. That will produce a huge amount of scrap material that needs to be recycled, along with the end of life materials that come back from all these batteries that have already been deployed between consumer devices and lawn and garden and golf carts and EVs even, and all those battery packs. So we see a huge opportunity to be a part of this industry that's being stood up. And there'll be about 1 million tons a year of black mass coming by the end of the decade as well. And if you look at the recyclers that take that black mass and truly extract those critical battery minerals, even with announced capacities inclusive of ours, which is a fairly large capacity that we've announced with our first commercial facility, phase one and phase two, there's going to be more material to recycle than there is recycling capacity. So we're pretty excited about the back half of this decade as we stand up the facility and having plenty of material to recycle and really standing up this industry in North America.
Absolutely. It sounds like it's going to be a busy one over the next few months for sure, and then beyond. Steve, thanks so much. Great to catch up with you and see what you're up to, and appreciate your time. We look forward to following your story. Okay.
Thanks so much.
All right. There's Steve Cotton, the CEO of Aqua Metals.